Give me liberty or give me death. Are we going to forfeit our freedom? Give way to martial law? Yes, you can take our freedom because we are so scared. How many people died to create this country? How many died to support this country and continue this country? Way more than 200 people. So if you sell out the fruit of this nation, if you turn away from freedomism, then you're dishonoring all the deaths of those soldiers and believers who allowed this country to exist and persist. How is it that the Chi-Coms came to the rescue of their cousins in the West? Who are their cousins? The leftists. A couple of weeks ago, my son showed you that a communist himself admitted that leftism, liberalism, and socialism, they're all actually the same thing.
I don't think you can separate out the project of what I'll call modernity, the project of liberalism, and the project for socialism. They all emerged historically around the same time. They're all aiming in different ways at the same thing.
So, communism, which is actually socialism, somehow had come to the rescue of the leftists over here. What happened because of COVID-19? Two things happened. The imposition of martial law, which is a temptation of free people to give up their freedom. It was the principle in the garden that Lucifer couldn't take anything from Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve had to be tricked into forfeiting it. What two things are happening? People are being tricked into forfeiting their sovereignty. And the second thing that's happened is we're taking our eye off the head of the snake. We've got the head of a snake underneath the blade of a knife. And at the moment where we should be pushing down on that knife, we're being distracted that maybe somebody's going to cut off our toe. I tell you this. Is it worth it for you to have your toe cut off to continue to push the blade into the brain of the snake? Of course it is. Losing your toe, but vanquishing this mortal enemy is worth it. In other words, you're going to let a couple of hundred people cause you to allow martial law and distract you from A.G. Bilbar and the Durham investigation. What should happen is A.G. Bilbar should come out with his findings. Americans should be empowered to clean up the deep state.
Now it's reported that the Department of Justice is fighting with the FBI. That's because the Department of Justice is trying their hardest to protect the criminal activity of Hillary Clinton.
Specifically, Hillary Clinton, Comey, the renegades in the Justice Department. Understand that this thing could happen. Move from a state where, oh, this thing could never happen. They could never actually engineer this type of coup, right? The Russia investigation was a hoax. They could never engineer hoaxes like this. There was no whistleblower or Schiff was in cahoots with the whistleblower. They totally engineered the foundation of the impeachment. They contrived it.
We invited a Democrat. We didn't invite a Republican. We invited a constitutional scholar, someone who didn't even vote for the president. Why? Because this is too important. We would stick to our own standards of constitutionality. And what did that individual say? It's the weakest, it's the thinnest, and it's the fastest impeachment in history. And he said there was no bribery. But you know what's more importantly what Turley said? He said if there is abuse of power that you want to impeach this president over, that's not the case. It's actually the abuse of Congress.
As this stuff comes out, people should rightly be horrified by the creative wickedness of the Democrats. They had a lot of nerve, and they're being outed for it, and they don't want to be outed. The snake don't want to see its reflection. It's like a vampire don't want to see its reflection. But it's going to happen. The horror of having to be embarrassed for what they did against free people of the United States, it's going to happen. So right now, when it's imminent that this happened, the Chi-Coms came in to help their cousins in America, the liberals, the leftists. This virus is helping them accomplish two things. One, issue a temptation for us to forfeit our sovereignty, allow martial law on account of 200 people dying. And second, to distract us from the spectacle of them being outed, the leftists being outed for their recent schemes. Maybe even the death of Judge Scalise is tied into the Democrat campaign of 2016.
Justice Scalia was found dead in his bed in this hotel suite at the 30,000-acre Cibolo Creek Ranch in West Texas Saturday. The ranch owner says he discovered Scalia with a pillow over his head, but a local judge pronounced him dead of natural causes without seeing the body or performing an autopsy.
Maybe the murder of Seth Rich.
Recent revelations regarding Seth Rich, the former DNC staffer that was found murdered in Washington, D.C., have come out after his family hired a private investigator. Now, this private investigator is saying that there's correspondence between Seth Rich and WikiLeaks during this time period in which the DNC leaks occurred. It's interesting to note here that a D.C. police officer had said to this private investigator that they were ordered to stand down. That's very unusual to have a police department standing down on a murder investigation.
Maybe it'll be outed that General Flynn, they stacked the deck against General Flynn on purpose. The horror of them not wanting to give up their power even when they lost the election. The nerve of it. The obnoxious nerve of it, the spectacle of being seen for how obnoxious they are, may even destroy the Democrat Party itself. Okay? Something else will have to come and fill in the vacuum, but something less satanic. You know, there is a need for now love and future love. It's the nature of a mother's love and a father's love. And conservatives seem to be more on the masculine side, being concerned about the future, being concerned about establishing norms for the sake of posterity. And Democrats seem to always promote the now or what you want right now, even if they turn a blind eye to the future. Something's going to come in and be a champion for the joys of the now in our country. It can't help but happen. But the Democrat Party is not looking for a harmony between mother and father or, yang and yin. They're looking to destroy the father. They're looking to destroy truth. And they're just about to be shown for what they are. Well, how did we get here? The Democrats didn't want to give up their power, even though they lost the election. And they employed measures that were so grotesque that the hope of remaining secret is very strong. And the Chi-Coms came to their rescue because as Durham and A.G. Bubar on the verge of outing them, exposing them, making a spectacle out of their nastiness, the Chi-Coms rescued them with this virus.
At the end of the day, the only thing that makes this all work is when people who do wrong are actually held accountable. So we need some people indicted who've done wrong, like the guy who falsified the email. There has to be someone who's actually punished and held to account. So let's hope the Attorney General and Durham's investigation get to that point.
When might we see something from Mr. Durham, do you suppose?
This summer, I think. That's what the Attorney General said.
Did the Chi-Coms mean to rescue them by engineering this virus and releasing it on purpose? That doesn't matter. If you want to control people and lead their consciousness, materialism is a pretty sure bet. Anyway, it's Satan who wants these things done because he wants to control people. And people who acknowledge their own freedom would remain Lord over the angel, or Lord even over Satan. And he can't have that. His regime's coming to an end. And we're actually seeing the formula for getting rid of Satan unfold. The more he wriggles, the more he's exposed. So actually, there's a lot of good going on right now, because people are seeing what the Democrats are doing to tempt us into forfeiting our sovereignty. Okay? I don't know what to tell you more than that, but that's really what's going on.